Galloway's presents Tech Talk at 3 with Robin Christopherson, Head of Digital Inclusion at AbilityNet and creator of the Dot to Dot podcast. To Tech Talk at 3. Really pleased again to be joined by Robin Christopherson, Head of Digital Inclusion at AbilityNet in the UK, and backed by popular demand, Robin. We had a great session back in June, which was a great session, and we were talking to you about your work at AbilityNet and your hosting and creation of the Dot to Dot podcast. So it's great to have you back on again, Robin. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thanks for inviting me back.
Well, we've got a lot of new people, Robin, that have been joining us since then. We're going to grow in our audience as we go. Would you mind just introducing yourself to everyone and telling them a little bit about yourself and about your podcast as well? That'd be excellent.
Yeah, sure. So AbilityNet is the charity that I work for. If people aren't familiar, we are all things disability and technology. So we can obviously advise on vision-related issues, what technology, what AT, what adjustments, what settings could help. We do access to work assessments if you're in employment. We do DSA assessments if you're in higher education. We run a national volunteer network along with the RNIB. So we've got 300 volunteers around the UK who could come into your home if you need some hands-on assistance as well. And we also have a range of commercial services around assessments and accessibility of websites and apps that will that pay for our free services. So yeah, and I am head of digital inclusion there. I've been there forever, since the mid-90s, and I also am into podcasting. So Dot to Dot, which you mentioned before, thanks very much, is a daily podcast all about the Echo. And we just demo a different skill or bit of built-in goodness that the Echo has every single day, so a sub 5 minutes, so it doesn't take long. You can add that to your flash briefing if you want to on your Echo. And I also run the weekly RNIB's Tech Talk podcast. I don't know if people are familiar with that one, but if not, you should definitely give that a listen to, either on Connect Radio at 1 p.m. on Tuesdays and I think 7 p.m. on Thursday, something like that, or just on podcast. Just search for Tech Talk, 2 words, on the podcast in your podcatching app, and that's where you can get Dot to Dot as well, of course. And just finally, I suppose the Accessibility Roundtable podcast, which is all kind of Apple and Vision stuff, and that's fortnightly. That's just accessibility with an M on the beginning.
Okay, that's a new one. I've not actually listened to that one before, Robin, so I'll definitely give that one a go. But definitely a big fan of Tech Talk and also the Dot to Dot podcast, which again just gives you a different gem every day of the week. What was the main driving force in you creating that, Robin? When did you get the idea to come up with the idea of a regular podcast every day of the year?
Well, we're up to episode 1200 and something now. So this was like 3 years ago when the Echo was relatively new and there were still thousands of skills available on it and loads of built-in, functionality as well. But unlike now, it wasn't nearly so discoverable. So now, you can say, "Hey lady, help me be organized, help me cook, vegetarian food, or help me with my travel plans," whatever it might be. You can just ask her stuff and she will surface skills or built-in features for you. And often if you're, using a particular skill, at the end she'll say, if you liked this one, you might also like this other one. So nowadays there's a lot more discoverability, but back then, no, it was really very difficult to discover what she could do that wasn't just the built-in stuff. Obviously, there's the skill section of the app on your phone or the website, but you actually have to go in there and, search for things or whatever. Obviously, you can still do that, but back then, people were really loving the Echo, and there was a lot of buzz about it on TV and social media and that sort of thing. But it felt to me like people were just using it to set timers and play music and stuff like that. So I thought, why don't I start recording some of the stuff that you can do? Because there's always a live demo in the show so that you can actually hear it in action and think, okay, that sounds like a good quiz or a good particular skill or whatever that I want to have a go of myself. And then it's as easy as just saying to her, open such and such, just like you heard me just say on the podcast. I say me, I mean, there are other contributors as well. And because it's a daily one, it's a bit of a beast that constantly needs feeding. So if anybody else wants to send in a demo, the address is at the end of every single podcast for sending in your comments, feedback and demos, etc. And I can do the editing and that sort of thing. So don't worry about getting it perfect or anything. So yeah, if people want to contribute as well, so that it's not just me, and it's not just me, there are other voices on it as well.
Yeah, that's right. There's a guy over in the States who contributes. There's a lady who contributed a couple of weeks ago, I think, as well, from the States as well. So I think the great thing is that, as you said before, most people just use their Echo for doing a timer or sending a message, listening to the music. And yet there's kind of so much more that you can actually do with your Echo. Games, all kinds of different things that. And I mean, I never realised, Robin, what you could do with children as well. All the children's skills and games and things on there. BBC have got a good children's skill on there for all you grandparents out there who want to keep the kids entertained. BBC Kids is quite a good one with Waffle the dog. If anyone wants to give that one a go.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's just loads of things out there that can help. I think there's also an interactive Red Riding Hood story as well, where you've got to kind of take the right roads, make the right decisions, or you get eaten by the wolf.
We featured that one. If not that one, then a very similar one about Red Riding Hood, where you make choices last week, I think. Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Oh, actually, it might be in the queue. No, I think it's gone out.
Is it?
I think it's gone out. I don't know, but anyway, I just get confused because I've got ones coming up, particularly as I'm going away for a week. So I've got a bit of a pipeline that I'm having to record in advance and schedule them for publication. But yeah, I get confused whether I've just recorded it and it's already gone out or it's in the pipe. So yeah, but loads of different ones. And as far as surfacing those, obviously the podcast will give you ideas as well. But as I mentioned before, you can say, help me do such and such. So you can say, help me be entertained, and that will surface games and quizzes and stuff. But like you said, with the kids, you can say, help my kids be entertained. So you can be as specific as that. And then she'll just suggest children, friendly stuff, or kind of young kids related stuff like the CBB stuff, or there's loads of stuff in there. Loads. I mean, there's something like 38,000 skills.
Where do you
skills
start?
are like apps. Yeah.
And are there any particular kind of gems that you got for us today, Robin, that you're quite excited about, or that you'd recommend that people could try at home?
Let's go sort of general age. So for entertainment, say something like Jeopardy, which is a very famous game show where you have to answer in the form of a question. So, if they give a clue which points at JFK or something, you have to say who was John F. Kennedy, for example. You can't just say JFK, because then that'll be a big no-no. So, that sort of twists your brain a little bit, but you get into that. So that's a very popular one. There's a really good one called Lie Swatter, which when he introduces it, it sounds like lice water, because it's lice water. It's very American. So that's what I always think of when he says that. But lice water is really good. You have to say whether it's real or not, the fact that he gives you. And these have got loads of good sound effects, and the questions are mainly recorded by humans, not her voice. Having said that, though, there are now multiple voices that the A lady can create. When she answers just normal questions, it'll always be her normal voice. But the software developer kit, the toolbox that developers of skills can access, have included loads of different really good voices now. So often skills, even though they're not kind of recording every single question in their hundreds and hundreds of questions that they might ask you, with a human, narrator, which is obviously the ideal. They have this selection of voices, which is really pleasing as well, because you get a lot of variety and there's
Yeah.
nice sound effects and stuff.
We've actually managed to do that with our Galloway skill now as well, because the guy that has helped us build the Galloway support through sight loss skill has implemented some of those different voices in,
And
and
you can
yeah,
make the intonation change and how excited they are and whether they whisper and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot of variation you can do without having to book studio time with actual voice professionals, which can get a bit expensive. So yeah, there's a Trivial Pursuit one. Trivial Pursuit Family Edition, for example, is really good. It's the standard game, and loads of the games you're playing against people across the internet. So
yeah.
even if it's just you at home, sometimes you can play against the computer, which is fine. But often they say, we've matched you against so and so in Cincinnati or something, and that adds an extra little
That
bit.
reminds me of Song Quiz, which is
Yeah,
pretty good, where you get ours. I think ours kick off about 1 o'clock every day, saying this is a reminder to play your latest challenge on Song Quiz, and I get people all over the world, and it's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty keeps your brain
and
going.
that's right. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Get the old moths out of your ears. That's another new feature, which is that the skills can now suggest, offer to remind you every day at a certain time, and they can actually set up a reminder, which isn't, you'd have to do that manually before. So there's a lot that have daily content updates. So yeah, you get a different, set of Harry Potter, quiz questions every day, or Puzzler. I think I mentioned that last time. Still one of my favourite ones. It's a really accessible audio crossword skill. Although if you have a screen, Echo with a screen, then you can see it as well. But and we should probably say that for people that aren't aware, there's a fully functional, very sophisticated screen reader built into, and magnification built into the Echo shows, which are the ones with screens. Um, yeah, so you can open those by saying open voice view, for example, or open
Yeah.
magnifier,
How,
and start
could
interacting
I
that way.
just ask a quick question? How much is the Echo Show?
That's a good question. I think the 5-inch is about 80 or 90, and the 8-inch is 120, something like that. That's what I want to say.
So how would it be accessible for me? Because I'm blind, you see. I don't have any sight whatsoever.
Yeah, so it would be accessible because it's got voice view, and you would either flick on the screen or you would it would automatically echo stuff that comes up on the screen. Having said that, there's a broader question, which is what extra does a screen offer, even though the content is accessible? And that there is a question mark over that. I would probably say, unless you very specifically wanted to hear the audio of YouTube videos, you wanted to be able to verbally ask her to bring up, search for particular YouTube videos, have those streamed out, watch Amazon Prime or, other video content, for example. So stuff that you could only do on the one with a screen. But if you're not really into that kind of thing, if you've got, recipes coming up on the screen, you can review the steps in your own time. But having said that, the built-in, so if you ask her for, what's a good recipe for chocolate muffins or something, then she'll default to Recipedia, which is now a built-in part of her abilities. And within the functionality of that, once you're in there, she'll give you a suggested recipe. If that sounds good, then she'll give you the ingredients, and you can repeat each of those ingredients, so you can kind of verbally step through stuff anyway. And similarly with the set of instructions for cooking instructions. So yeah, you could review it on the screen in your own time, or you could get her to repeat stuff. So it's kind of 6 and 2 3s really.
So what's the difference between all the Alexas? Because I've got the tube one, like the cylinder one, but I've heard other people saying they've got different ones. Like the one with the screen, because I'm like, if I got the one with the screen, I probably wasted like quite a lot of money, because like I can't see what's playing on the screen. And like, say if I said play a film, it probably play a film, but then it's like the audio side of stuff as well.
So like I mentioned a couple of potential use cases for a blind person to want one with a screen. If you're doing video calling with friends or family, and it was important for you that they could see you, you can't see them, but they can see you, then obviously these have got a camera as well, so that kind of thing. But otherwise,
I must admit,
really.
I mean, with the screen, it's a good question about the Echo Show with the screen. I know it's been debated a lot on Tech Talk as well with Sean Priest as well, because I remember listening to that episode. And I mean, even though I'm low vision, I do use speech. I've enjoyed the shopping experience on the Echo Show, in terms of asking the A-lady to read what's on the screen, or using the left and right swipe on the screen to see what's there with voice fields. And I found that quite a nice experience, quite a compact experience.
I mean, you can surf as well. So
yeah,
once you've, gone directly to, openfacebook.com or whatever it is, you can dictate the URL. Then you're straight up on there, and you can roam your finger around to read the stuff that's on the screen, or you can ask her to read it. So I don't know. There's use cases, but the thing I really love about the normal Echoes is how affordable they are, and how you're not in any way disadvantaged compared to everybody else who's using it.
We're all on a level playing field.
Yeah, exactly.
Which makes a massive difference. Robin, that's all really interesting. It's Angus. I'm over in Newcastle upon Tyne. I work for Newcastle Vision Support. Just one quick question as you were talking about. I mean, it's interesting how skills are more discoverable now. That certainly never used to be the case when I got mine 3 years ago. But there's thousands and thousands of skills out there, and it's great that your podcast kind of helps to identify useful ones for us. But then as a skill developer, the thing that perplexes me is that all of the skills on there are free, aren't they? I'm not a skill developer, by the way, but for anyone developing skills, and they're just doing it out of the goodness of their heart, really, aren't they?
No, there's in-skill purchases now, which is new compared to, say, 3 years ago. So,
right.
Yeah, so something like Puzzler, you get a daily 5x5 crossword puzzle.
Wow.
And if you want to unlock almost unlimited number of 9x9 puzzles, then there's a one-off in-skill purchase.
Right. So they're going down that route, like the iOS.
Some of them are actual monthly charges. So the in-skill purchase is a subscription. So they are. They definitely are. I like that.
So that's where they make them work. I don't know. I mean, I really like it. I mean, we demonstrate both at work, the Google equivalent and the A-Lady. And for most things, the Echo is ahead, I would say. Not everything.
Whistles to it, hasn't it?
I mean, Google it. Oh, sorry, is someone?
Yeah. It's all right, Robin. I was just going to say, Robin, you'll probably agree with me, Robin, it's got a lot more kind of bells and whistles, the devices than Google. There's pros and cons to both, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to close my door because there's a contingent of noisy people coming in to the house. So, yeah, I mean, Google is superlative when it comes to search. Now, I think the A-Lady's pretty good at giving you, a precise nugget of hopefully accurate information when you ask her a random thing. But, Google is probably the king when it comes to
the
that.
Amazon phone call.
Well, yeah, I mean, we could talk about all the other features like the phone calling, the Skype calling.
Sorry.
You want to ask a question, do you, Mosey?
Sorry, no, it was just that I phoned Amazon, asked for the Amazon phone number on my Alexa just recently, about an hour ago. And she said, shall I call? And I said, yes. And it put me through to an aquarium, a local aquarium. And they said, we often get calls for Amazon.
That's, data is the is absolutely, data is king, and any product or service is only as good as the data that drives it. But that's a really good point. You can ask the A lady, where is the nearest, car garage, where is the nearest library, where is the nearest swimming pool, coffee shop, whatever, and they'll give you an address, they'll give you a telephone number. You can say give them a call, or they'll even offer to call them for you. You can ask for their opening hours. It's not always correct because that's to do with the data, but then websites are the same. So my wife went on a website the other day to specifically look up the kind of COVID-19 opening hours of this particular organization, and it said, yeah, we're open 9 till 4 or something. She went there and it had closed at 3. So the data has to be up to date, basically.
Yeah, because like I've actually had a thought about getting another like Echo device, but like this one what I've got now, I'm wondering whether you could like what else you could do with it, because I've got it set up to Amazon Pay, which I've just started to set it up to, but then my card runs out next year, so that's something else I'm going to have trouble setting it up back up, because when I went through to Amazon, the automated service, it was speaking that fast. It was really hard to like type your like number in, and it kept saying I'm putting you back through to your automated person. And I did it about 15 times and eventually I got it, and then it didn't accept it the first time, so then I had to do it again.
Andrew, sorry, just things like that Andrew Coleman can help you with as well. So when you come to do it all again and things all happen, you can contact Andrew and he can go through it with you. It's just just that's the support side of stuff Andrew Coleman can help you with. Is that okay?
Yeah. And also,
not that Robin, you don't do that, but I know you're struggling for time today, so I didn't want to go off on a tangent. That's all.
So what if I did get a new like device? Which one would you say to get like for me?
Unless you need a screen, then it's down to audio quality really. And I would argue that something like the Echo Dot, which is the sort of most affordable. I mean, I know there are smaller ones. There's a massive group of products, like a dozen or more different flavors, but the most common and probably the most popular one is the Echo Dot at around £50.
Is that the one with the screen or?
No. It's a bit like yours, but more squat, a bit like a donut size. Still fabric covered, still got the same buttons on the top. It's just not got as much volume. So, that would be for like a house party, whereas yours could be for a street party. So, it's all about I think the audio quality is relatively comparable, and it's certainly good enough in the Echo Dot 3rd gen, which is that most affordable one. So it would depend on, do you need that volume, or are you just wanting to have more rooms in the house covered, in which case just scatter dots everywhere. You can usually get them in like a multi-pack where you get a discount.
Awesome.
Or if you wait, then sometimes they're at sort of £20 off, so like 30 quid on certain days. So just keep your eye on those. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the go-to one. Don't know what you think, Andy, but the Echo Dot is, I think,
yeah, absolutely. I also think if you're considering the screen, because the screen thing is a bit of a bonus, I suppose, to be able to play with. And if you wait till Amazon have a sale, then I'd get the 5 or the 8, because then you can play with the screen as well. The other thing is you can set those up without an additional smartphone or a tablet. Yeah. Because you've got the screen built in.
And if you've already got an existing product, then on the website you can tick a box when you're buying it that says apply my settings, and when it comes out of the box it will be all set up. So yeah, that's really good, including your Wi-Fi. So done
that a few times by mistake for when I bought someone for someone else, and then
they can use your. I don't think your Wi-Fi would stretch that far.
No, it wouldn't. I want that Wi-Fi, whatever it is. I know we've got some more people, Robin, and I know that I've got some questions for you. So we're going to unmute everyone. And I think we'll start with Yvonne. Yvonne in Southport's got a question for you, haven't you, Yvonne?
She'll have to unmute herself, Andy.
Okay. If you're on the phone, Yvonne, it's #6, I think, to unmute yourself. If you're on the phone.
Control Shift A maybe.
Yeah, and she's on a mobile phone.
Oh, okay.
On the, she's called in, I think. So if you do
there she is.
There you go, Yvonne.
Are there two Yvonnes? Right, okay. Robin, for the emails, I'm finding finding the A lady, although I've unplugged her, she wouldn't stop. A bit inconsistent with reading emails. She just won't always do as I ask. She'll offer me to read it. When I say read, she'll go off looking in my Kindle library for text-to-speech books. I don't have any. So is there a specific way or time in which you should respond?
I think maybe because there's so much that they have to try and pass and they have to do it correctly. So yeah, if you say like read my emails, then she might hear the word read and try and interpret the rest of the sentence as a book title, because yes, she can do Kindle books. She can read Kindle books with her own voice, which is a very cost-effective way of buying books. Or if you're an Audible member, then she'll read any Audible title. So she can do all that as well. So she might be getting confused. So you could say, what are my emails? Or have I got any new emails? You could say that, just like you can say, what are my messages? Or what are my notifications? So maybe, what are my emails? You could try that. But yeah, that's a new feature and that's really good.
She's okay for that. It's when she actually reads the what do you call it, the subject message, the initial message, and then she gives you the option read, delete, or next. That's when I have the problem with her sometimes.
So then
and
you
she
say
also gets
read.
fed up.
Oh well.
She'll read so much and then she'll sort of when she'll read so much of it and then she'll peter out. Do you want to continue? You'll say yes, or continue. I've tried both. And sometimes she will, and sometimes she's decided she's had enough.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of times when, she doesn't hear you, or particularly if she's playing music or something. Yeah, and I think that is quite a tall order, really. I've found sometimes that you, if you speak less, when there's nothing playing, when she's just quiet, if you speak less loudly, then she picks it up better. Maybe if you're in an echoey room or something like that. I was on the sofa the other day and I was testing out, because there was a news item saying that on the Amazon A Lady app on your phone, you no longer have to tap that button at the bottom to wake her up. You can just say A Lady and she'll answer. Unfortunately, that's over in the States still, not over here quite yet. But when I was seeing if it was working, I whispered to my phone, which was an inch from my mouth, and the echo, which was about 15 feet away, answered. So it's that sensitive. It can hear a lady, blah blah. I was literally that quiet because I didn't want the other one to pick up. So sometimes I think we probably speak too loudly to them. Even a single word like read, if you speak too loudly, there's a lot of echo. And if you've ever done a call with the echo from, and you hear what the other person at the other end sounds like when they're using theirs, it is very echoey. So I think
I've never done that.
Yeah, what the echo hears is probably really quite an echoey noise compared to if, our human ears hearing the same person in the same room.
Yeah, that's true. Because I've got a friend who's got one, and I've said to him, I think you need to move your echo because you've got it like the other side of your living room and you're sitting on the couch. You need to have it nearer where you are for when you're talking, so it doesn't sound like, you're really far away from it. So it's probably good. That's another reason for having more of them.
Absolutely. And the good news is that they're getting updates to their firmware all the time, and that's you know that because they're getting cleverer, they're getting new features. The one thing that I would love to come to the ones with a screen, the Echo Shows, that again is only in the States at the moment, is something called Show and Tell, which is where you just hold up products to the camera and it will tell you what it is from the barcode or from the
that would be brilliant. That'd be on my wish list.
So you'd say, what am I holding? And she would tell you, which obviously for, have that in the kitchen, that would be really, really useful. So that hasn't come over here yet. But yeah, when it's being updated all the time, I'd like to think that they do tweaks to the algorithms that try and hear when you're talking and that sort of thing, and would kind of improve despite acoustics and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I've also seen that they've got the echo detection system in the US as well, where it will, it's like an alarm system essentially, and it will listen. It'll listen for noises in your home and things like that.
Yeah, again, not here, but iOS 14 has got that, guys. If you're into iDevices, then under the accessibility settings under hearing, you can turn on sound alerts and it will listen for loads of stuff. And you can test, I've got the public beta installed, you can probably tell, but you can test, one of the things it listens out for is running water, which if you're hearing impaired, you want to know if you've left a tap on and it's going to flood the kitchen or whatever. But you can really easily test that one. Just go and turn the tap on and instantly it comes up saying running water detected. So that's really cool.
What's that on, Robin? Sorry, I didn't quite catch what that's
iOS, so on your iPhone. It's iOS 14 though, so that's not coming out until September unless you want to go to the public beta.
I want the SE.
Yeah, it will be on that.
Will it? Oh, brilliant.
Absolutely.
That sounds excellent. So, has anybody got any more questions? I know we had a few more people who had some questions for Robin. You may need to unmute yourself.
Oh, it's in my pocket.
You want me to put it on the couch again?
Oh, yeah.
Got someone who's got a delivery going on there, I think.
That's very important.
That could be an Amazon delivery.
I'm just in the middle of a Zoom
call.
You want to unmute yourself, guys. You can unmute yourself with Alt and A, or you can go to mute button on your device.
No problem. Thank you so much. You're welcome.
See you next week.
Yeah, give us a ring. See ya. Hello.
I wonder what it is.
Well, maybe we'll ask her. Maybe it's another Amazon Echo. Maybe.
Another, yeah.
So have you got another question, Mosey? I don't know if she's got.
Can I ask one about the plugs, Andrew?
Yeah, go for it, Yvonne.
I'm not getting old and confused. Not quite clear on how you use them. Do you have to have a lamp if you want lights, or can it be done, connected with a light bulb or?
That's a really good question. Thanks for
Oh,
bringing
good.
that up.
Thank you, Robin.
Well, we haven't mentioned that you can control loads of stuff around your home, which is absolutely a main part of it, particularly from a disability point of view. So all of these smart devices can either be controlled directly. So if you've got, smart lights that directly talk to your Echo on setup, you can then just say, dim lights to 50%, change lights to red, that sort of thing. Similarly with a range of other products. Oh, I can hear myself. But the other thing you can do is you can get a smart plug for sort of £15, and you can plug that into the wall socket and then plug a dumb fan or light or whatever into that. And all it does is pass through electricity. So if you say turn on the fan, for example, that smart plug will let power through to the fan. Now, why is it called the fan? That's because when you set up that smart plug, you call it the fan. Oh. And then you say, turn on the fan, and it basically lets power through, and the fan has to be switched on all the time for that to suddenly start working, So the combination of smart appliances and smart plugs that can make dumb appliances smart means that, you can quite affordably start controlling a lot of stuff around your house.
Yeah. It's a great way of controlling things. Christmas tree. It's got to be my favourite one.
Yeah, we've got.
Yeah.
I've heard that. You've just given me an idea, because I could do that with the kitchen fan. It's just a little bit too high for me to reach, to
exactly.
effectively give it a remote control.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to have to go, I'm afraid, but you can also get these really cool Amazon buttons, which are really big, chunky, round buttons that you can smack. You can play loads of games with them. A lot of skills use them. But you can also set them up to trigger the fan, for example. So you could use them as a trigger for a smart device as well.
Brilliant, Robin. Robin, we know you're a busy guy, and
Sorry,
you're going to be on TV, and but we'll definitely we'll have you again at some point. It's great to have you back on Tech Talk 3. Thanks for joining us.
Oh,
brilliant.
Thanks, Robin.
Sorry.
Thank you, Robin.
Thanks, guys.
Next Tuesday.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers. Bye-bye.